This is a morally bad video. I wish I didn't have to make it, but its ideas have been in my head for a long time, and I need to let go. Imagine a life where you were born with a father trying to make you the smartest man alive, a man that would lead the world with all pre-existing knowledge under their belt, a man who sacrifices himself for the greater good, a true utilitarian specimen. You were taught Greek at the age of 3 and Latin at the age of 8. You complete the works of classical histories and algebra at the age of 12. At 15, you've successfully learned calculus, political economics, and logic. After all that, you begin your studies on major philosophies, government, and psychology. Additionally, you're tasked to educate your younger siblings and debate against others to cultivate your ideas. Would you have killed yourself? No? I told you what you did, but that's literally all you did. There were no games, no television, no forms of entertainment at all in your early life. You have no friends, no trustworthy relationships, basically no one to empathize with because you spent the last 20 years of your life learning to be a tool for mankind. Tools don't have feelings, but people do. This was the first 20 years of John Stuart Mill's life. And he questioned to himself, suppose that all your objects in life were realized, that all the changes in institutions and opinions which you are looking forward to could be completely affected at this very instant. Would this be a great joy and happiness to you? And an irrepressible self-consciousness distinctly answered no! At this my heart sank within me. The whole foundation on which my life was constructed fell down. All my happiness was to have been found in the continual pursuit of this end. The end had ceased to charm, and how could there ever again be any interest in the means? I seemed to have nothing left to live for. The way he got rid of this soul-sucking depression wasn't some philosophical discovery within the frontiers of epistemology or a new political theory worthy of improving society. It is something so small and considered to be worthless by many. Poetry. I was reading, accidentally, Marmontel's memoir and came to the passage which relates his father's death, the distressed position of the family, and the sudden inspiration by which he, then a mere boy, felt, and made them feel that he would be everything to them, would supply the place of all that they had lost. A vivid conception of the scene and its feelings came over me, and I was moved to tears. From this moment, my burden grew lighter. The oppression of the thought that all feeling was dead within me was gone. I was no longer hopeless. I was not a stock or a stone. I had still, it seemed, some of the material out of which all worth of character and all capacity for happiness are made. Art isn't useless. It's what we all can connect with. It can move us to tears, happiness, anger, catharsis. It can persuade us that life is worth living. It can improve our lives. You don't believe me? A single person's account isn't enough to convince you that art is indeed more than just whimsical imaginations. Okay then. Let's talk about the Aztec Empire. Destroyed for its gold in the name of God, their culture and people were branded with the name cannibals to justify why they had to be colonized. Although their insane accomplishments were diminished to a mere murmur, their feather paintings speak to me in ways no history books can. The vivid accounts of their great city, Tenochtitlan, fills me with wondrous curiosity because they built a city on a fucking lake. Their unique language is a miraculous puzzle to me, its cultivation resulting from thousands of years. Now, you may argue that their art made them soft and impractical, which was the reason why they got stomped out. To which I argue, there are plenty of accounts of these so-called soldiers from a technologically superior civilization that were astonished by their greatness just as I. Do you think they are only remembered today for being conquered by Spain? Why were they even such an enticing target for Spain in the first place? Do you really think they were able to exert empirical pressure onto neighboring city-states without the minds of artists? Isn't a great civilization consisting of people with motivation, pride, passion? Wouldn't it make more sense that a civilization would stagnate and crumble by its own slothfulness if it did advocate for a life like the first 20 years of John Stuart Mill to its citizens? Oh, I see. The Aztecs were just simple cannibals in your Eurocentric mind. Then let's talk about the Roman Empire, a 3-continent spanning monstrosity with 2 distinct identities split between the West and East. It's a widely known fact that the West was always poorer than the East, but why was it so? Rome betrayed the people, replacing them with slaves for the profit of the rich. Socially, they denounced art and upheld duty. These causes extinguished the flaming morale of the people, and its embers were finally stomped out by barbarians in 476 AD. Meanwhile, the East was flourishing with its so-called soft culture, exuding pressure for another 1,000 years after the fall of Rome. Inspired by the works of Greeks and their Hellenistic culture, their accomplishments still stand tall in the sands of time. Even when Constantinople fell, their artisans moved west and marked the beginning of the Renaissance. A period of radical change reignited the passions within people's hearts across Europe. Their creations burned the skies with a fervorous fever, and it torched its raging beauty into people's minds. One of the greatest mistakes in my life was believing that art had no influence in the real world. But in the end, it made me grow as a person. I've analyzed quite a bit of movies, but I can confidently say that Good Will Hunting and Forrest Gump are the 2 most influential pieces of art in my life. They helped me understand who I am, and I hope this analysis can help you as well.
If I can dream of a warmer sun where hope keeps shining, oh everyone tell me why, oh why, oh why won't that sun appear? We're lost in a cloud with too much rain. We're trapped in a world that's troubled with pain. But as long as a man has the strength to dream, he can redeem his soul and fly.
Imagine a character that thinks entirely in morality. Every single action is based on the system in which they were punished as a child for doing bad things and rewarded for being good. They believe that to survive, they must not make any mistakes and be the perfect child. To spice things up, let's add beliefs on top of this foundation. Lieutenant Dan, for example, believes in true American ideals such as God's will and patriotism. This leads to his motivation that dying for his country is the ultimate good, and any decision that gets in the way would be considered a sin. So, he commits his entire life to be a soldier. He goes into officer training, gets sent to Vietnam, goes into battle, gets his legs blown away, and he lives. This stubborn fuck denied him his daily intake of napalm. Ever seen a dam break? The water slowly erodes away from the wall. Cracks needles their way to freedom, and then it erupts. Lieutenant Dan's anger is that water, and his self-control is the dam. He tries to control it but fails, resulting in an eruption of righteous rage. He accuses his savior of robbing his destiny. Then he stops attacking and collapses into their arms because deep down, he knew his beliefs were never in his best interest. There are 2 ways to deal with a broken belief system. You can rebuild it, or do nothing. Lieutenant Dan takes the second option because there's no reason to continue, is there? How can I become a good person when the destiny I believed from the start was wrong? How can I become a good person if there is no way to judge myself? Why should I even try when an idiot who moons the president is more successful than I am? But of course, the world doesn't care. While he throws bottles of hatred in his little own corner, he wallows in his own filth and self-pity. But all it takes to stop this is one decision: to pick up the pieces and try again. Where he used to believe his obsession of self-control was a virtue, he later realizes it was the source of his problems all along. He reforms and lives in the moment, instead of constantly asking himself if this is the right action. He lets himself be free from his rigid dogmas. By Breaking Bad, he becomes a better man in the end. I love Lieutenant Dan, but honestly, I love Jenny more. I know, I said I loved Lieutenant Dan, but I lied. Yes, I lied to you. Oh, you thought I was gay for Lieutenant Dan? I'm homophobic, I can assure you. And stop telling me to get out of the closet. I totally don't have a Lieutenant Dan body pillow in there that I cuddle with when people try to seduce me by calling me Pookie Bear. I know my outburst is shameful, but shame breaks the soul, doesn't it? As a child, Jenny was neglected and used by her own fucking father, resulting in this gaping hole in her heart where self-esteem should be. Instead of trying to heal this hole, she decorates it, pretending that it's inseparable from herself. It's a defense mechanism where she believes that if she can't avoid the pain, then I'll learn to love it. Why should I heal something that isn't a problem? It's a part of me, my identity. This integration leads to obsession over pain, where she tries to make the dark beautiful. War, drugs, and even emotionally unhealthy people are interests to her. She's drawn to these like a moth to a lamp, which would end up exposing her to exploitation. She would be a victim, where she thought the community that was ideal for her didn't care about her well-being. Her crusade against the evils of the world leads her into the drug epidemic, where she would lose sight of her dreams and become an addict. Eventually, she realizes that all her efforts, beliefs, decisions were all worthless and only filled with pain. This shameful realization almost leads her to suicide, but she does the greatest thing one can do in this state: letting go of the mask. Tragedy is tragic, and pain is just pain. There is nothing special about them. I don't know, though. If you don't like Jenny, then I don't like her either. I don't really want to talk about Forrest Gump. I mean, if you like him, then yeah, sure, I'll talk about him. Forrest Gump's problem is that he lacks initiative. It's called situational irony, honey. To explain what I mean, imagine you're getting bullied. There are many ways you could approach this problem. You could fight, negotiate, ask for help, run. Forrest Gump? He just rolls with the rocks. Whenever conflict arises, he doesn't want to cause a scene. He just responds with, "Stupid is as stupid does." It's a defense mechanism where he hardens his skin. But this leads to problems such as having no dreams, no desire to stand up for himself, and he attaches his entire identity to someone else's. But there are these moments where he explodes in anger, where a part of him gets frustrated at himself for not standing up earlier. Basically the side of him that beats the shit out of his problems. At a certain point, he finds out that he can't just ignore pain, because when he does that, he also ignores his ambitions and desires. To achieve what he wants, he must take initiative and let in the pain. So he stops rolling with the punches. He even confesses his love for Jenny, and then she fucking leaves. The literal first moment he decides to be vulnerable. His heart is left with a big fat question. So, he runs away from his feelings. Literally for years. He uses his entire body to numb away the pain and avoid his thoughts. But the only way to truly be at peace in the end is by letting it go. He may be different from the norm with his speech impediment, but his love to those who give attention to him is heartwarming. His hatred towards himself because others treat him less is understandable. His confusion from Jenny's turbulent thoughts is relatable. His admiration of worldly beauty astonishes my eyes. His fears of being an unintentional burden to his own son breaks my heart. His tears against this cruel, apathetic world brings out my own. And his resolve to continue to care for her is my inspiration. If you feel as I feel and you see as I see, and I'm sure you know that Forrest Gump is an amazing character. Will Hunting is my favorite character of all time.
Moving with situations I'm not choosing, and we both want to say I'm sorry for something that we cannot stop. You've been alright, you're losing time for me and our fights, so I'm done writing for you, baby. Now this gon' be the last I got.
Will was born into a world filled with chaos, pain, and monsters. He was abandoned by his own parents, abused by his fosters, and bullied by his peers. What better way is there to combat this than to understand how the world works? I present to you the know-all, fix-all pathology. If I hold all the knowledge in the world, then I don't need to rely on others to survive. I can be self-sufficient, competent. Wait a minute, I possess so much knowledge. I am self-sufficient and competent. By creating a safe little world in his head, he satisfies his security needs. Everything is predictable for Will. He can simply see how things will go by reading books. But what happens when Will faces something that is unpredictable?
What are you so scared of?
What am I so scared of?
Well, what aren't you scared of? You live in this safe little world where no one challenges you, and you're scared shitless to do anything else.
Don't tell me about my world. Don't tell me about my world. Don't tell me you want to hear that shit!
I want to hear it because I want to help you, because I want to be with...
What the fuck? What do I got? A fucking sign on my back that says save me?
No.
Do I look like I need that?
No, God, I just want to be with you because I love you.
Don't bullshit.
For Will, truly loving someone is fucking scary. And since he doesn't submit to another force other than his own, love is a paralyzing toxin. It's like inviting someone into your home and they start fucking your couch. It's uncomfortable, but it's also one of life's greatest gifts. Not the couch part, I mean love. It is the happiest and most humbling experience a person can feel.
You've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you.
In the end, to grow out of his insecurities, he had to stop fighting the uncontrollable and take a leap of faith. Ironically, this entire video is my combat of the same fear. My ego tells me that I'm helping people, but deep down I'm just
A cocky, scared, shitless kid.
who is terrified of the world, but I'm trying. God knows that I'm trying to see the world as a whole, and not only through the lens of logic. Sean is my favorite person of all time. I love you, Robin Williams. You gave me so much hope. You gave me so much to live for. You made me laugh. You made me grow. You made me me. I wish I could see you smile. I wish I could hear your jokes one last time. If you feel like you need to help others because you're ashamed of who you are, if you think the only way for others to like you is by being helpful, if you're hurt when a person you care rejects your help even when they didn't ask for it, stop and breathe. Find a room where you can be alone for a time and think about what you need to help yourself. Your shoulders must be heavy from carrying everyone's burdens. Your eyes must be dry from searching around to help others. Sit down, relax, and listen to my words. Your worth doesn't depend on what others think of you. You are an important person, just as how much you think others are to you. Don't be afraid to ask for help from those you care about. It may feel like you're taking their valuable resources, but you're not. You're adding more to the relationship by doing so, I guarantee you. Being vulnerable is one of the greatest forms of bonding between people. If they don't help you, then please leave them be. One last thing that will be the most difficult pill to swallow. Wait for others to ask for your help. Being generous with your time is one thing. Being helpful to the point it annoys them is another. If they refuse your help, your love, accept it and move on. When they ask for your voice, your hands, that's your cue to shine. Remember to take care of yourself first, okay? How will you help others if your mind is fracturing and your body is breaking down first? All the characters in this video remind me of myself. Lieutenant Dan's anger, Jenny's shame, Forrest's passivity, Will's fear, and Sean's pride. I made this video in hopes of helping people how to understand who they are, but I also understand that by doing so, I'm responsible for changing others' thoughts. I fear that I may cause harm in my efforts to help, but life is a series of risks, and all that truly matters in the end is that I tried.
There must be lights burning brighter somewhere. It got to be birds flying higher in a sky more blue. If I can dream of a better land where all my brothers walk hand in hand, tell me why, oh why can't my dream come true? Oh why? There must be peace and understanding sometime. Strong winds of promise that will blow away the doubt and fear. If I can dream of a warmer sun where hope keeps shining on everyone, tell me why, oh why won't that sun appear? We're lost in a cloud with too much rain. We're trapped in a world that's trouble with pain. But as long as a man
has the strength to dream. He can redeem his soul and fly. Deep in my heart, there's a trembling question. Still, I am sure that the answer's gonna come somehow. Out there in the dark, there's a beckoning candle. Oh yeah, and while I can think, while I can talk, while I can stand, while I can walk, while I can dream. Oh, please let my dream come true. Oh, right now. Let it come true right now. Oh, fuck.